Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am really high up because I wanted to get this whole sugar skull in here. So this is what we're building today. Now ignore the mouth. I think I'm going to make it a little bit smiley because it looks a little bit nasty just putting it straight. So we'll probably turn this up a little bit. But all in all, this is the sugar skull that we're going to be building today. Let's jump right into this, and we're going to be doing chapters. So we first need to make something that looks like this. I've already made one for the video. So this chapter is going to be, these chapters are probably going to be short-ish, but this isn't really that long to do. But when you have to do two, it's probably going to eat up a lot of the video. So I think just the first part, we'll build this part for the chapter, and then chapter 2 we'll be doing everything else. I think that would be a good way to split it up. So we'll work on this today. This is what I'm using, is just a Red Heart Super Saver 4-weight. It calls for a 5mm, but I'm using a 4.5 today to build it. So we will be slip stitching and chaining one throughout the video, just doing regular crochet. We will be putting one single crochet into the chain one space to cut down on the seam, so you don't see my seam. So this is my start and stop point, and there should be a seam here, and there's no seam because I put that one single crochet into the chain one space. That stitch will not be counted in this. Just hit my coffee cup. That stitch won't be counted. We're not counting it at all. So if you don't want to do it in regular crochet and you want to do it in amigurumi, you can knock your socks off and do it that way. So let's get started. We're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Come down here. If you don't know how to make a magic ring, or you struggle with it, you can do a chain 2 and then put everything in the first chain. So we're going to put 6 single crochets in here. You are going to need a couple of stitch markers because we're going to be stitching off some points later on to do the bottom jaw. So you're going to need a couple of stitch markers. So we jump right into our slip stitch into the next and chain 1. So put a 1 single crochet into that chain 1 space. So starting in our next stitch, we're going to be doing 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a total of 12 stitches. So you can slip stitch into that first chain 1 space, chain 1, and put a single crochet in there. So this single crochet, we're just going to use that as a slip stitch spot. We're not counting that as a stitch. I know I already said that, but so your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. This counts as number 1. So in your next stitch gets 2 single crochets in the same space for the increase, and repeat. So that's my 18th stitch. This is where I slip stitch. This is my single crochet that I put in the same chain 1 space. We're going to use that to slip stitch into. Chain 1 and put 1 single crochet in that space. So we're going to do that throughout the entire project. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 24 stitches. So this is number 1, this is number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. That's my 24th stitch. I'm back around. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1, 1 single crochet. Your next round is going to be 3 single. I'm going to start my pause screens now because I think you understand what's going on here. I hope you understand what's going on here now. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This will bring you up to 30 stitches. So I'm back around again. I'm going to slip stitch into this chain. I'm going to chain 1 and put a single crochet in there. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 36 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. And I'm back around again, so I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain. Chain 1, single crochet. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So I'm back around again, and I'm going to slip stitch into this chain. Chain 1, you make single crochet. Your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 48 stitches. So that's number 1. That's 6 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So I'm back around again. I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain. Chain 1, single crochet. Your next round is going to be 7 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 54 stitches. So that's number 1. That's 7 single crochets, so your next stitch gets to increase. And repeat. So I'm back around and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain. Chain 1, 1 single crochet. So your next round, we're just counting up. We're counting up. Anybody who wants to work ahead of me, we're going all the way to 14 single crochets and an increase, and then that's where we stop. Right now we're on 8 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 60 stitches. That's number 1. That's 8 single crochets and then your increase. And repeat. So I'm back around again. I'm just going to slip stitch, chain 1, put a single crochet in there. So as you can see, there's no seam. This is where you should be with a seam, but because we put that 1 single crochet in there, we do not get one. So your next round is going to be 9 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 66 stitches. That's number 1. That's 9 single crochets and then your increase. And repeat. So your next round is going to be 10 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 10 single crochets and then your increase. So 2 single crochets in the same space. So this will give you 72 stitches. So your next round is going to be 11 single crochets. Like I said, we're going to 14. So your next round is going to be 11 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 78 stitches. That's number 1. That's my 11 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So your next round is going to be 12 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 84 stitches. Almost done this part. Your next round is going to be 13 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 90 stitches. So we're starting our last row. And it's going to be 14 single crochets and an increase, and it's going to bring you up to 96 stitches, and that's going to be as far as we go, and then we're going to start doing something different, so not so monotonous anymore. So 14 single crochets, that's number 1. So I'm just coming up to my increase, and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and put a 1 single crochet in there. So we're still doing the same thing, just because we're not increasing. So as far as your seam goes, you just have this slight little line right there to know where your seam is. So easy peasy. So you should have 96 stitches. This is where we're going to take a couple of stitch markers. I'll find a couple. So you just need a couple. And we're going to mark off some spots. That way it's kind of easier for you to follow the video and me to do the video. So our first mark off spot, we're going to do 36 single crochets. That's number 1. So this is my 36th stitch. I don't want you to mark off the 36th stitch. This next stitch, we're going to do a half double. So yarn over, go into your stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. That's a half double. And that's where we're going to put our first marker. So this half double counts as number 1. We're going to do 24 half doubles. That is number 1 with your marker. So this is 24 half double crochets. So again, I don't want your next marker isn't going to go on your last stitch. It'll go on your first stitch that you make. So this next stitch will be where I want the marker to go, but we're not putting a stitch in there. But I want you to put the marker on this next stitch for when we come back. From here, I want you to actually chain 2, and I want you to turn your work. So now we're looking at the back. We still have our 2 markers set. So PDF users, we're on round 17. We're going to do 23 half double crochets. Starting in this first stitch, you got to pull back your chain 2. Starting in this first stitch, you're going to do 23 half doubles. So that's my 23 half doubles. I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to turn my work again, and I'm going to do 23 half doubles. Again, make sure you're pulling back your chain to see this first stitch. and this turning over stitch, which can be difficult. Make sure you're getting under both pieces for your 23rd half double. So chain 2, turn your work. So we're going to start decreasing this area here. So I want you to do a half double crochet 2 together. So half double decrease. So you're going to yarn over, go into your first stitch, pull up a loop, and then I just want you to pop into the next stitch and pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2, then yarn over again and pull through the last 3. That's how I do my half double 2 together. Then you're going to do 19 half double crochets, and then you're going to do that 2 together thing again. This is my 19th half double. I've got 2 stitches left. I've got this one which is visible, and then this turning over stitch. So again, you're going to yarn over and go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, then pop over to your last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over and finish the stitch. Chain 2 and turn your work. And we're going to do the decrease again. One more time, and then we're moving on. So I want you to half double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, pull up a loop, pop over to the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 3. And now you're going to do 17 half doubles across to the other side, where you're going to do the 2 together thing again. So that's my 17 single crochets. Sorry, my camera shut itself off and I just left it. Or, did I say single? 17 half double crochets. So I'm back at the end where I've got my 2 stitches left. I got my one that's visible, and then I got my stupid turning over thingy. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do the 2 together half double. So pull up a loop, pop over here, find your 2 pieces from your turning over stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 3. So that's the end of our decreases for now, for here. So I just kind of want you to turn sideways. PDF users, we're still on round 20 if you're reading along. I just want you to turn to this raw edge here, and I want you to do 9 single crochets up this raw edge. Single crochets. So wherever you can get your, just remember where you put your spaces so you can match them on the other side when we come back around. So now that we're back around with our marker here, we're going to do 36 single crochets back up to the top, to this top. So 36 single crochets, and I still want you to marker this first spot. So this is stitch number 1. that's my 36th stitch. I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain, chain 1, and put another single crochet in there. So this is what we have so far. So it's the start of our skull shape. So I want you to do from here down to your marker, I want you to do 15 single crochets and an increase 2 times. And then you're going to have 4 stitches left before your marker, and I just want you to put 4 single crochets in there. So 15 single crochets and an increase. As far as you can do them, that's number 1. So that's another 15 single crochets and then your increase. And then you should have 4 stitches before your marker, and I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 4 stitches. So we come back around. We got to do the same thing on this side that we did over here on this side, which is the 9 single crochets. But first, let's put a 1 single crochet in this marker spot. So starting here, because I literally put my last stitch in there on the other side, but whatever you did on this side, try to match the same spaces and do 9. That's my 9 single crochets. So now we're kind of back around to our stitches down here. And I just want you to do 19 half double crochets, which is all the stitches you should have across, is 19 half double crochets. That's my 19th stitch. And then back around to where I started my 9 single crochets. 9. So if you've got 9 stitches, then you're so far doing it. You're doing everything right. It's my phone. I really hate those scam callers that call you and tell you that. Just scam callers. Anyway, I should have turned my cell phone off. So after you do your 19 half doubles, you should have 9 stitches that you did before. So I just want you to follow those 9 stitches, do 9 single crochets back over to your marker. So starting at the marker, I want you to do 15 single crochets and an increase 2 times, just like we did on the other side, starting with your marker. That's number 1. That's 15 single crochets and then your increase. You should have 4 stitches left. Just put 1 single crochet in each of those 4 stitches. Slip stitch to the top of this first chain. Well, not the top of it, but into it. And do your 1 single crochet. There. Starting to look like a skull. So for your next round, you're going to do 16 single crochets and an increase 2 times with 4 single crochets extra. So it'll be the exact same thing, just a different number, to your marker. So 16 single crochets and an increase to your marker. That's number 1. That's 16 single crochets, so this is my increase. And you should have 4 extra stitches just like before. Put 1 single crochet in each of these 4 stitches. Okay, so for this next section, we're going to be doing it all in the back loops until we get back around to this marker, and then the back loops will stop. So everything around here is going to be done in the back loops. First, we're going to start with an SC2 tog. So single crochet 2 together, which is a decrease, in the back loops only. So go into this back loop, pull up a loop, go into this back loop, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and that's where your marker is going to go. So staying in the back loops, I want you to do 8 single crochets. That's 8 single crochets. In the next stitch, I want you to put 2 single crochets into that space, because we're making it a corner by doing that. And now all along here, you're going to do 19 half double crochets in the back loops. So this is my 19th half double. So this next stitch gets 2 single crochets in the same back loop, just like the other side. So we're just trying to keep it squared off a little bit. And now I just want you to do, we should have, let's see, 3, 6, 7 single crochets back to your marker in the back loops only. So we're going to repeat what we just did on the other side. We're going to SC2 tog. So still in the back loops, because that's what we did on the other side. I want you to SC2 tog. And then put your stitch back in. Stitch marker back in. So now I just want you to do 16 single crochet, increase 2 times back around up to the top. So that's 16, and then your increase, you should have 2 stitches left. You're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of those stitches, slip stitch to this first chain, chain 1, put 1 single crochet in there. So I'm just going to zoom out a bit. For your next round, I want you to do 49 single crochets. That's going to take you all the way around past this guy. This guy you can take out. We remove him. So 49 single crochets around to where we made our corner before, where we did our 2 single crochets in each stitch. And you're going to put 2 single crochets in that stitch too. So just trying to keep the squared off points. And then you're going to do your 19 half doubles. You're going to put your 2 single crochets here to make another squared off point, and then you're going to do 45 single crochets all the way back up to the top. So that's what we're going to do. So the first adventure is going to be 49 single crochets. That's number 1. So I'm at 40. I'm at my marker. So I'm at my 40 count. This marker can just, we're done with it. So 9 more to go. So that's my 49. So right down here where I did my 2 single crochets the last time, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in there again, just to keep the bottom of the jaw kind of squarish. It all rounds out when we're sewing it together, but it does help. So now I want you to do 19 half double crochets across to the other side, where you're going to put 2 single crochets in the same space. That's my 19. I went to 20. Anyway, this next stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets in. And then you can take this out too, because we're just going to go 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way back up to the beginning. So I had 48 stitches back to my marker, and I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1, and put 1 single crochet in there. So we're still trying to cut down on this seam, and as you can see, we're still continued, and our seam is almost invisible, and that's what we want, because we don't want to see that crap on the front or the back or anywhere. So this last round is easy peasy, is 1 single crochet, and yes, even when you get down to your half doubles down here, I want single crochet. So 1 single crochet. This will make this kind of curve in like that, and that's what we want. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around should have 118 stitches. Actually, I had 120 stitches. So, I don't know if I counted wrong, I don't know if I added wrong, but either way, I have 120. Whatever count you have, just make sure your second piece has the exact same count. So, we can fasten off. So, don't fasten off your second piece. This is my second piece, so I'm not going to fasten off. But don't fasten off your second piece, because we're going to crochet the 2 ends together like this. So go ahead and make your second piece. I will put the pattern up on the screen, and that'll be the end of chapter 1. So after the patterns end, you'll see me kind of transition into chapter 2, and that's where we're going to be crocheting and stuffing it, and then doing all of this fun stuff. So I'll see you in chapter 2. Go ahead and make your second piece. Hi guys, welcome back to chapter 2. So let's put our two pieces together. So this guy has to, I haven't fastened off, so I'm still attached. So turn him over so that we're looking at the inside. Let me zoom out a bit. So we're looking at the inside of him, we can tell because we've got our straggler right here. And then this guy, we're looking at the outside of him. So we're just literally going to go stitch for stitch. So what I did for my guy is I actually used my stitch markers to hold him, especially down here where I did my, I squared off the end of my mouth down here. So I'm just using my stitch markers to kind of hold him where I need him to be. And I'm literally going to go stitch for stitch. So I'm going to go into this stitch, into this stitch. So go into your stitch on this guy, pop over to the stitch on him, and I would just do a slip stitch. So if you got the same numbers for both your pieces, then you can literally go stitch for stitch and just slip stitch this all together. Don't forget you got to leave an opening for it to get stuffed. Alrighty, I'm gonna put some stuffing in mine. So the mouth part is weird to stuff, because for both sides it takes actually quite a bit of stuffing. Because we kind of made a little bit of a pocket in there. So it does take a bit more stuffing. It is a decently sized pillow, but it is very hard to stuff. So just remember, it's got to keep this shape in here. So once you think you're full of your stuffing and you've got it moved around to your liking, you can just finish closing your head up. You can still move your stuffing around after you're done. So I'm on my last slip stitch. So you can just go wherever you can stick your needle, or your hook, I mean, to fasten off. So you're gonna have to move your stuffing around probably. So I think I might have put too much stuffing in there. So once you get your stuffing situated, wherever you like it, you can just weave. There we go. Fix your bottom. Fix my bottom. There, now we can start putting everything on it. So it'll look more like a skull after we start adding all of our stuff. So let's do that next. The first thing I want to do are these eyes. So these are done in a neon yellow and a neon orange, but I think I'm gonna, because I don't want my two sugar skulls to be the same, I'm gonna change colors, but you need an array of colors for this guy. So I think I'm gonna do my eyes in neon green and neon orange. Yes. Okay, so we want to start making the eyes. We start with the black because the pupils are black. So we're going to do a magic ring of 6 single crochets. The first round, staying with the black, is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So it'll give you 12 stitches. And on the last stitch, that's when we're going to change to our next color. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Oh, sorry. We're going to change colors, so don't finish that last stitch with your black. Finish it with your next color. And my next color is orange. Your next round is going to be done in the front loops only. So in the front loops, so you're getting into, this first one's going to be difficult. You're getting into these ones. The other ones are going to be fine. It's this first one that might be a little tight. But you're going to do a half double crochet and then a double crochet all in this front loop. So the first one's a little tricky. That's my half double. And then my double goes into the same space. And then this next front loop of the next stitch, you're going to do a double and a half double. So backwards to what you just did. And that's going to make our little petals. And you're going to do this all the way around in the front loops. So half double, double, Next stitch, front loop, double, half double. So this is our very last stitch, so we're going to change colors. I'm going to slip stitch with my orange. I'm going to come down here and find my... So all these back loops down here are all exposed because we use the front loops. So just find one of them. Actually, let's chain a couple first because that's pulling too much. Chain 2. We're going to come down here and find one of our loops. And let's change our color here instead of up there, because it was really noticeable on my last one and I don't really want it to be that noticeable. So I'm going to slip stitch right here. And then maybe it's not going to be so noticeable. From here I'm going to chain 5. So you see what I did? I chained 2. I came down here and slip stitched with my new color into that front or back loop. Now I've chained 5. Oh, helps if I'm on camera a little bit more. And now I've chained 5. I'm going to skip 4 back loops, counting the first one that I'm in, because generally I wouldn't have used that before. So this is my 5th back loop, and that's where I'm going to go into and make a single crochet and then chain 5. So again, skip, counting the one that you're in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the 5th back loop, chain 5, counting the one you're in, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't really have a 5th spot other than the one I started in, and that's where you're going to go and make a single crochet. So this is what you should have at the back. All this other stuff can be cut, pulled tight, and tied. Not sure which one is my slip knot, but all this stuff can be dealt with. Just so it's not in the way anymore. And my green and my orange. That can all get tied together as well. So I can cut my orange straggler off. We can just weave that in later. So doing it that way leaves you no green at the front. So that looks a lot better, because when I did before I have orange left there, just the way that I had done it. So that's what you should have so far. So from here, we're going to be working into these spaces. You should have 3 big spaces, and each one of them is going to get 2 petals. So it gets pretty stretchy. Hopefully not as stretchy as my last one, but so from here, you're not chaining or anything. From this position, you're just going to go straight into your big space. And you're going to make a single crochet. You got to put a lot in here, so you can slide these down because we're just using this space. Your next stitch is going to be a half double. Your next stitch is going to be a double. And then you're going to do a triple. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Then you're going to do a double. No, sorry, another triple. So yarn over twice. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So you pull through 3 times. That's what makes it a triple. And then you're going to do a double. You pull through twice, which makes it a double. And a half double. So we're just working our way back down now. And then a single. And you're going to do that again in the same space. So pull all this over. You're going to do a single, a half double, a double, a triple, another triple, so push this over, a double, a half double, and a single. So that pretty much fills up your space, and that's what you should have. So you're going to do this in the next 2. I'll put it up on my screen, but I'll probably speed up this portion. I'll still make sure you can see my stitches though. And this is my single crochet. So this is your flower. So it's not shrunken a little bit from my last one that I did. So it's not as big. So you can fasten off. So just go into your next petal wherever you want to go in. Doesn't really matter. Fasten off. So you're going to need a sewing tail. So that's one of your eyes. Let's go ahead and make your second eye. I am going to not talk through this. I'm going to let you see my stitches, and then I'm going to put the pattern on the screen. There we go. So our second one is done. So my suggestion to you, and this is what I did when I was building mine, is I pinned everything on first, and then I did all the sewing. So that's what we'll do here, just because you may want to move stuff around and fix it. So now that our eyes are done, let's move on. I wouldn't have generally done that, showing you my stitches, but it's not an easy, it's not an easy flower to make. Anyway, let's move on to probably the nose, I would imagine. It's right in the middle of everything. But first we start with black. So you're going to make a magic ring. There's supposed to be a shape to this nose, but I kind of lost mine in the whole sewing it to the head business. So inside this magic ring, you're going to put a single crochet, and then you're going to put a half double, then you're going to put a double, then you're going to put a triple, then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to picot. So you're going to come down, you're going to pick up these 2 pieces. So let me show you. That's my chain 2. It is so hard to see black, but those are the 2 pieces you're going to pick up. Then you're going to pull through and do a slip stitch. That's going to put a point on there, which you end up losing anyway, so don't know why I bothered. But then you're going to do another triple, and then you're going to do a double, then you're going to do half double, then you're going to do a single. So you should have something that looks like this right now. So pull this closed. You're going to chain 1 and then right into this. Oh, my camera, I'm telling you. And then right into this center hole, right there, you're going to slip stitch. So you made a little heart. We kind of move it. We kind of destroy it in this next round. So, let's change color with this slip stitch. You can fasten off and change colors, but I don't feel like doing that, so. A slip stitch with my pink. So, this is what we're going to do all the way around. Go into your first stitch. You're going to do a single crochet. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do a single crochet back into that same space. So it gives you this little nubby. And then you repeat. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Same space. So in this little tippy top thing here, just grab the tippy top part of it and do the same thing. I don't think this is a stitch, but I'm still using the space because I don't want any black showing. Then slip stitch to wherever. I'm going to slip stitch down here, hoping to cover up some of that black. And then fasten off with a sewing tail. So mine's squiggly. That's what I kind of was going for. So this stuff here at the back. Again, you can kind of just tie it all together. Keeps everything nice and secure. Kind of tightens things up too a bit. So the shape is kind of sort of better than the last one, and then it gets sewn on upside down, so the point is facing up. But you can do whatever the heck you want to do. Either way, just pin it until you make the decision of where you want it. So, moving on. So let's do the mouth. Get rid of that. I'm going to do this neon yellow for the mouth, and you're going to need the black for the outline. So, I want you to chain 20. And I want you to do 19 single crochets back up. That's my 19 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work, and for the next 4 rows I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 19 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So that's my 5 rows all together. So we did our first row there, and then I said 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want a smiley face, so I think my last row I'm gonna do some stuff. So there's 9 single crochets. Actually, let's go back. 8 single crochets. To make my thing look smiley, I think I'm gonna single crochet these 3 together. So, I guess I should explain what I'm doing. I know, it's probably hard to see. So, I'm going to single crochet these 3 together. So I'm going to go in, pull up a loop, go into the next 6, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all of those. And I don't know if this is going to make it smiley or not, but... And then 8 single crochets to end the row. Yeah, it gives me a little bit of a curve, which is good. I can kind of work with that when I sew it. On, so I think that's how I'm gonna do my mouth. You don't need to do that. I actually didn't even write that in the instructions, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll add that to the instructions. Let me zoom out here. It's a little bit of a smiley mouth. It'll look better with the black. Now, for the teeth part, you don't need to use black. You can use white if you want. I guess it all depends on what color you got going on over here. So, yeah, if I use white, I don't know. I don't think white and yellow would really look all that great. But so you can decide. I'm just changing the whole pattern as I go. So yeah, I think I'm going to add that to the instructions, the whole 3 single crochets together, giving you a little bit of a smiley face. So you can fasten off with a sewing tail. So this guy can get tucked away. Why are you up so far? I can hear his lawnmowers outside. I just had 2 days worth of storms come through, and now everyone's out mowing their lawn. Our lawns were literally brown because of the heat wave. But there we go. So decide whatever color you want to use for your teeth, and that'll be what we do next. So to do the black part around the mouth, we're going to chain 20, and then we're going to plus 5. So I need you to hold your finger on that 20th stitch. So that's my 20th stitch. So I'm going to put my finger on that, and then I'm going to plus 5. Into where my finger is, I want you to do a half double crochet. And then I want you to chain 3. and skip 2. And into that third chain, I want you to put a half double. So you're going to do this all the way across. Chain 3, skip 2, and into the third stitch, put a half double. So that's what you should have all the way across. So from here, I want you to chain 5 and turn your work. You're going to put a half double on top of your half double. So you're going to skip 2. And on top of your half double, you're going to put another half double. So that's where it goes. I mean, you're not going to get exactly right on top of it, because you just won't. So chain 3, skip 2. It's still the exact same pattern. You just So when you get to the end, you're going to chain 3. You're going to skip 2, and then in here, oops, you're going to put your last half double. And then you can fasten off. You're going to need a sewing tail. So this is the mesh that you should have. This can get tucked away or used to sew onto. Find my mouth. So where we did 3 together up here, that's where your it's going to go on the top because of your smiley face. I should probably zoom out a little bit so you can see kind of my face. So this mesh, I don't think I have enough pins for this, but this mesh gets stretched. So you want it stretched out when you sew it, because I'm running out of pins. Whip out my pins. I got all kinds of pins. They're just... And here's these small ones. So the mesh gets stretched, So it's kind of hard to show you. But now that we have this done, we can start sewing stuff on. So this is not the easiest. I sewed my mouth on first, and then I stretched the black out around it. But that's what it's supposed to look like. And it's a little more of a smiley face than my other one. So, and keep in mind, it is a skull, so it's supposed to, I don't know if it's supposed to look spooky or not. I'm going to do this in white and show you what that looks like. So I'll be back in a second. So I didn't use white because the skull is white. And then I thought, it's a skull. Are their teeth really going to be white? So I used this linen color is what it is. And yeah, I don't mind that so much other than the black. So I think I'm going to use this linen color. But it's completely up to you. So this is what I used. It's a wool, but just, I mean, just find this color. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm using, but if you happen to have it, it's a Lime brand woolies, and it's linen. That's the color of it, is linen. But if you do like an off-white or something, that's roughly what it's going to look like. So anyway, let's just start getting our stuff sewn on, and then we can get to the rest of it. So keep in mind, we are doing stuff on top of the forehead as well when you're pinning your stuff. And we do all these flowers. If you want, we do all the flowers and the stem coming off the eyes. If you want to learn how to do all of that, we do all of that too. So when you're pinning your stuff, just remember all of that. So I think next we'll do all of this, and then we'll do this at the end. It's pretty quick, those ones. This here, you're gonna need some green, so it's supposed to signify the stem of the flowers, right? And then you can put your stem anywhere you want. You don't need to go down and around the mouth like I did. Matter of fact, for this sugar skull, I think I'm going to go up and around. Oh, that doesn't make sense because there's stems for flowers. Okay, I'll just do the same thing. You can do whatever you want. So, get your green. I don't know. Guess how long you're going to need it. It doesn't matter where you come in. It just matters where you pop out. So you want to pop out right underneath this flower. So pull it through, but not all the way. Leave some hanging out. So wherever you want your stem to be, we're just going to do it in little sections. And then those little sections are going to be where we put the flowers. So this is where we're going to put a flower in there, in that little jog part. And then I came over here, so kind of sideways. So I'm going to go back down that hole that I just came from. When I did this on my last one, I made these flowers really close together. That's your choice. You can do whatever you want here. You want to pop out and get another piece and do the other side. Now you don't have to match the other side. I tried to match my other side. But considering I have to do it upside down, I did not do a very good job in matching. So find a flower color. I'm going to start with purple because that's a great color. I got this neon purple. It's really dark. It's really cool. So it doesn't matter where you come in, it just matters where you pop out. So pop out where you want your flower to be. And again, don't pull this all the way through. You're going to go back down that same hole and pop out wherever you want your petal to be. You're going to pull, but not all the way through. You want to keep this loop, and you want to go through the loop. And then that's going to be your flower petal. You can make this a shorter petal by pulling it forward and then backing it off a little bit. You'll change the size of the size. So you've gone through the loop. Go back down the same hole that you just came out of, and up through the same hole you started with, and it does that. So to make your second petal, you go back down the same hole and pop out where you want your second petal to be. So you pull through and go through the loop, pull your petal over, go back down the same hole, and then back up the same hole. So there's a lot of same hole business in this. And like I said, you can put as many petals on as you want. So go back down the same hole, pop out where you want your third petal to be, go through the loop, find the right size, go back down the hole you just were in and come out the middle again. And that's how we make flowers. So when you're done that, you can just kind of twist this around a couple of times, go back down it, so you're preferably making a knot, a little bit of a knot in there, and just pop out wherever, and then that just gets snipped off, and you can go on to making your next flower. With whatever next color. So I got all my flowers done that I want to get done. So the last bit is just to do the little thingies up here. So I'm going to use yellow and blue for mine. I'm going to use blue for the larger one and then yellow for the smaller one because I've got all sorts of yellow on my sugar skull. I just don't have the just don't have a lot of this blue color. So for the bigger one, and I'll show you in case you forgot what it looked like. So we're doing these guys up here. And just keep in mind when you're sewing them on, try not to make them look like eyebrows and try not to make them look angry. But we're doing the big ones now. So I'm going to do those in blue and then my small ones will be in yellow. So you need to make a slip knot and chain 11. So we're going to do 4 single crochets. Then we're going to do 2 half doubles. Then we're going to do 3 doubles. You have 1 stitch left. You're going to chain 3, and you're going to go into this stitch and slip stitch. So it kind of just rounds it off. And then fasten off with a sewing tail. That's your little eyebrow piece. Well, it's not technically an eyebrow piece, but that's one of them. So we can do it again.
This is where my camera shuts off and never turns back on. It is now at the repair shop, hopefully getting fixed, fingers crossed. The next screen you'll see will be the written patterns for the second large head accessory and the patterns for the 2 small accessories. So this is the horrible footage that the other camera filmed. It's so blurry and it's crap. So I'm just going to do a voiceover saying thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.